What happens if you capture Dream? On June 6, 1916, a man named Dr. John Hathaway visits Roderick Burgess to give him a book. Mr. Burgess is on a mission. He wants to capture and eliminate death. Roderick Burgess is no ordinary man. He seeks to become the greatest magician ever, and in the early 20th century, he founded the Order of Ancient Mysteries, an occult organization. Dr. John Hathaway, a senior curator at the Royal Museum, had previously denied Burgess access to the book. But why did he change his mind? Because his son died in a sea battle. Desperate, Hathaway brings Burgess the Magdalene Grimoire, a powerful mystical book. He says the ritual will be performed on the next full moon. On June 10, 1916, people about to fall asleep feel something strange. We see 8-year-old Ellie Marston from Canada, Daniel Bustamante from Jamaica, Stefan Wasserman from France, and Unity Kincaid from England. It's midnight. Burgess is ready to imprison death. His accomplice has everything ready in the basement of his mansion. He hesitates for a moment, but then he begins the ceremony. He offers a coin made from stone, a song stolen from the dirt, a knife from under the hills, a stick that he stuck through a dead man's eye, a claw he ripped from a rat, a name and the name is lost, and blood out of his vein and feather from an angel's wings. They continue the enchantment. Burgess chants from the Magdalene Grimoire, and finally, something appears, but they are not happy. They wanted death, but what they summoned is not death. They don't know what they've captured, but immediately they steal its tools, a ruby, a pouch, and a helm made from a god's spine and skull, and call it a knight. After this mysterious being is captured, a sickness spreads across the world, and they call it the sleepy sickness. Ellie fell asleep and never woke up, but Daniel is too scared to fall asleep. He keeps himself awake. Stefan doesn't sleep at all. He's 14, a soldier. Doctors believe it's shell shock. Nothing can put him to sleep. Whereas Unity, she just sleeps. Unable to sleep for years, Stefan took his own life in 1918. He was 16. In 1920, Dr. Hathaway commits suicide after the museum discovers he stole the Magdalene Grimoire. He leaves a note about Burgess, but Burgess destroys it. In 1926, Burgess's son Alex figures out the being they captured is Dream, aka Morpheus. In 1930, Burgess's mistress, Ethel Cripps, steals 200,000 pounds and all of Dream's tools. She flees with Ruthven Sykes, Burgess's second-in-command. Sykes, fearing Burgess's wrath, trades the Dreamstone for a protection amulet from a demon. In 1936, Ethel betrays Sykes, stealing the amulet for herself. Burgess finally gets his revenge. The year is 1939. The victims of sleepy sickness continue to suffer. Ellie still believes she is 8 years old. She has only woken up twice in a decade. By the end of 1926, Daniel fell asleep and never woke up. He's been sleeping for 13 years. Unity was raped in her sleep, and she gave birth to a girl. She didn't know anything. We see a new face, Wesley Dodd. He uses sleeping gas to put criminals to sleep, sprinkling sand over them. The year is 1947. Roderick Burgess is angry and sad. He visits Dream one final time before he dies. 1955. Ellie now wakes up 4 to 5 times a year. She needs someone to read her a story. Daniel is awake, but doesn't say a word. He is like a walking dead man. After the death of her parents, Unity, now in a nursing home, has no memory of anything. Every time she wakes up, they have to explain why she is there. Alex is now in charge of the mansion. He has an assistant or companion named Paul McGuire. Paul tries to convince him to release Morpheus, but Alex won't. He demands the same things his father wanted: power, immortality, and a promise Morpheus won't seek revenge. By the way, Morpheus hasn't spoken a word since his capture. In 1970, Alex handed over the order to Paul. He doesn't believe in magic, he just uses the organization for money. From 1972 to 1988, Alex tries to get Morpheus to talk. It's useless. Alex is old and is in a wheelchair. While Paul takes Alex to his study in 1988, he accidentally breaks the magic circle with the wheelchair. This time, Morpheus makes one of the guards fall asleep. He enters into this guard's dream and gets some sand. Right away, the other guard wakes him up. Then they see Morpheus looks like he's dead. They get Paul right away, and he tells the guard to check on Morpheus. Morpheus escapes by putting everyone to sleep using the sand he has taken from the guard's dream. He is finally free, but weak and starving. He then enters into a lot of people's dreams and eats the food within the dreams of these people. Once he has regained some strength, he clothes himself. But his mission isn't over. He needs his tools back and seeks revenge for his imprisonment. With Morpheus's escape, the world is freed from the sleepy sickness. Ellie Marston is awake and well. Daniel Bustamante finally speaks, and Unity Kincaid says she dreamed she had a baby. Meanwhile, Paul rushes to speak with Alex, but Alex's nurse stops him. She tells him that Alex can't be disturbed. He's taking a nap. In his nap, he finds himself following a black cat through an unfamiliar space. The cat leads him into a room and jumps onto a chair. As Alex steps inside, he freezes in shock. Morpheus is sitting in the chair instead of the cat. Alex stares in horror. He apologizes frantically. He asks Alex if he has any idea what it is like to be confined in a glass box. He reminds Alex how the magic circle barred him from his realm, keeping him imprisoned for decades. Then, Morpheus demands an explanation. Alex tells Morpheus that he wasn't the one his father was looking for. He wanted death. He says, "Count yourself and this planet lucky that you failed, that instead you captured Death's younger brother." Morpheus demands his tools, the ruby, the pouch, and the helm. Alex tells him how 50 years ago, Sykes took them all and left. So then Morpheus says, "I will give you a gift as your punishment, eternal waking." Suddenly, Alex wakes up from that nightmare, only to be in another nightmare to another nightmare. Every time he thinks he is awake, it's just another nightmare. Paul forces the nurse to open the door and check on him. There they see Alex mumbling in his sleep. They try to wake him up, but he never wakes up.